Hello everybody and welcome to the Combinations podcast. Today we are live at our Long Service Award event, which is an event that sort of gives back to the staff and the years of service that they have done within the NHS. And to start off, I'm with our Chief People Officer, Freza Mahmood, who's done 20 years herself in the NHS, and she's going to tell us what she thinks of the importance of this event.
Hi Kyle, it's my great privilege to be here today. I've been excited about this event for weeks and weeks because it's one of the few opportunities we get to talk to staff about the amazing, wonderful contribution that they've made to our services over very, very many years. And I feel incredibly humbled and proud of the fact that we've got people that have up to 50 years plus service working for our organisation, and throughout it they're just unwavering in their commitment to us and to our patients and communities. I just think it's absolutely to be commended, and it's so inspiring and so uplifting, although it does make me think, gosh, I've got a long time before I can retire as well. I don't feel like I've earned my service after listening to some of the stories that I've heard today from people, but it has been fantastic to connect with staff, to hear about the things that have really shaped and influenced them throughout their career, the positive contribution that they've been able to make, and it's wonderful. Like, I would encourage anyone to participate in the ceremony if they haven't had a chance to be able to do so before, to watch the videos from today and to engage with it, because it's just so nice to see your colleagues being recognised and rewarded for the huge commitment that they've made to our trust and to the NHS over many years. You know, the NHS thrives on people's goodwill, and our staff are the backbone of our service, so it's just wonderful to be here.
Yeah, and our Long Service Award categories start at 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 years, and today we get to celebrate 50 years, as we've got someone who has come back. They retired, but they did the 50 years, but they've come back for today's event because they really want to, well, enjoy their whole career, don't they, and spread not the love, but spread their stories with the people on the other tables who've done numerous years within the NHS. And it's across corporate, clinical, and it's, I say, one big happy family in there. Is there any comments you want to say? Because this is your first one yourself at Combined Long Service Awards. We've got an event at Port Vale, tea and coffees, some music's on, and the vibe in there looks amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely, there's such a great buzz there, the excitement, the energy. There's a little bit of nervousness. I think a few people are terrified you're going to come around with a camera or a microphone and ask them some questions or take some pictures or video of them, because we've got our staff are very, very shy and they don't like to be singled out in any way, which I think, you know, that at times I think they're far too humble. You know, they deserve that recognition. But it is wonderful just hearing some of the stories from people and the different sort of lifetimes that they've lived essentially over those very many years. But for me, it's just so nice because it's the first time that obviously I'm eligible to receive an award myself, which is, it's wonderful, but it's the first time that I've actually participated in a ceremony of this nature, although I've worked in the NHS for 20 years and in lots of different NHS trusts during that time. Not many do it in the combined style like this and actually take that time and make that commitment to ensure that they actually are bringing people together to a proper sort of location where we're investing in that time, you know, and unapologetically so, to make sure that people are really you know, enjoying it, immersing themselves in the experience, having some, you know, nice refreshments and things. And I think we're really blessed, you know, in that way, that this is something that we continue to invest in, when a lot of trusts are thinking about moving away from formal things of this nature. And the fact that we've got so many people in the room, when people are sort of moving in some cases to more hybrid arrangements as well, tells you how much our staff themselves value it.
Yeah, and I think as it is a work event, it's not as corporate as we can do it, but it is for their well-being, and it's that sort of take the time out. It's a couple of hours. They get to celebrate and reflect on their careers. Is there anything else you want to add before we go find some more stories in that room today?
I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that works for us for what they do day in, day out, tirelessly, and with no, you know, expectation of anything in return. They do it because of the, you know, their passion, their desire to want to make a difference, because they're values driven. And I just know that Combined wouldn't be, you know, half what it is without that. So just a huge thanks to everyone from me. And when you see me out and about, please say hello, tell me your story, please engage in the big conversations we're having, you know, the Real Talk, Real Change program, about the things that are really significant to you, that you want to make a change in your area, to your work, to help improve your experience even further, because we absolutely want to retain you. We really value you. And a huge just thanks, really. That's all.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to go do my table walk and find more stories. Last year we had some really good ones, so hopefully we're going to get some hilarious career moments from the staff and all the giggles and hard work that they've had. So let's go see who we can find out.
Can't wait, let's go.
So I'm here with Lisa Burks, who's done over 30 years in the NHS, and I've worked with Lisa a fair bit on Ward 4. Can you just tell us a bit about your career and how it started and what you've enjoyed and what's kept you here?
Yeah, so when I left school, I had quite a various amount of jobs. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I started off as a travel agent. I worked in some ladies' clothes shops. I worked abroad in Tenerife. And it was only after I'd done all that I decided that I wanted to find a career that I'd like to go into. So because I'd never worked in healthcare before, I actually started in the NHS in 1995 and I was employed as a domestic at Royal Stoke Hospital. Whilst I was working as a domestic, I thought to myself, I'd like to be a healthcare support worker. So I went back to college in the evenings and I did an access course, which was combined A-levels, psychology, sociology, anatomy and physiology. Passed that, and then I worked as a healthcare support worker for about, I think it was 8 years, and then I decided that I'd like to become a student nurse. I'd like to become a qualified nurse, and at that time the NHS were seconding healthcare support workers who'd worked within the trust for so many years to go and do the nurse training. And I was very fortunate that I got funding to do that. So I went to do my student nurse training, qualified as a nurse. My background is I'm a general nurse. I started in Royal Stoke. I've worked in a variety of different areas, trauma orthopaedics, A&E, gynecology. And then I've worked my way up through the banding. I'm currently now a ward manager on Ward 4 at the Harplands, and I've been a ward manager for approximately 15 years, and it's been one hell of a journey.
And it shows that you don't just stay in, you worked your way through, haven't it? And obviously you've got health cares on your ward, so it must be quite fresh to think that they could have the potential one day to get to the position where you are on Ward 4. And across that whole career, do you have any moments that stick out to you? Fun moments, exciting moments, tense moments, things across your career that you think that are quite unique to you?
I think for me, some of the unique moments in my career have just been the different diversity within the teams that I've worked for. I think each team brings a uniqueness, and I just think it's really important that you enjoy going to work, and I've had some really good experiences working in a general setting, also working in a mental health setting, but I think it's just that teamwork that brings those those qualities, and if you can get diversity embedded into the teamwork, then you're on a win-win situation.
And obviously you're celebrating 30 years today at the Long Service Awards, and you can see everyone else in the room. How does this make you feel as a member of staff to be valued, to have this time out today just to celebrate what you've done and how hard you've worked and where your career's taken you?
Yeah, I think it's really nice that we get recognised for, a length of service. I think it's really important that we recognise everybody on a daily basis as well, not just for long service awards. But yeah, I think it's really nice, and I'm really enjoying today, and find it really warming that we get invited to such an event like this. Feel very honoured.
And as a Port Vale fan, you must be excited to be at the ground.
Yeah, up the Vale.
Let's go see who else we can find around the tables. So I'm here with Anthony Brown, who's done fantastically 26 years in the NHS. Where did you start and what's kept you here?
I suppose I started in April 2000 as a healthcare support worker working for Learning Disability Services with Behaviours That Challenge. Very difficult and challenging role, but also very rewarding. And I suppose helping people with their recoveries and moving forward with their lives is what's kept me in the NHS and nursing. And I suppose I moved around lots of different services over the years just to keep myself motivated. I think change helps that. And
did you think in 2000 that you'd still be in the NHS? Is this some sort of goal that you thought you were going to achieve, or did you think it was going to be like a 2-3 year stint?
My aspiration was always to become a registered mental health nurse, which I did after a few years. But my current position, no, I never thought I'd be in this position. I just felt it was a privilege to work in nursing and be a mental health nurse, and that's all I ever wanted, really.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's what we like to hear, that you're achieving your goal. Across your career, has there been a standout moment or something that you think back and think that was pivotal, or, you know, something that really you cherish?
I spent a lot of time working with offenders, so helping people to sort of navigate through that difficult period of their life is something that's quite important to me. If you can advocate for them in the court or with police custody, so they get a more positive outcome or more therapeutic outcome, as opposed to maybe being sent to prison, being incarcerated, and that's quite important for me.
So your sort of values are definitely compassion and not justice as such, but making sure that someone has the best opportunity they can have.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. And today at the Long Service Awards, have you been to an event like this before? Obviously 26 years. How does this make you feel to be at an event, just to be able to share your story with people around the table and enjoy some very fancy cakes?
Yeah, it just makes us feel valued, to be fair. I'd never been to an event like this before. So I just feel really happy, and meeting with people I've known on and off for many years, and listening to their stories also, and how happy they feel to be an event like this.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm not going to hold you any longer. Go finish your cakes, enjoy your tea, and we'll see who else we can find around the tables.
Oh, thank you very much.
So I'm here with Mike Groden, who I've worked with quite a bit across my career. But Mike, you've been here 36 years on your full, colourful career. How's it been?
Absolutely amazing. It's been an amazing jaunt for the last 36 years as a qualified nurse, and before that I was a student nurse and then a healthcare support worker, and I started my career in the NHS all those years ago as a domestic assistant at the Royal Infirmary, and the hospital, the NHS, infused into my very, very veins, and I wanted to be part of that journey and made sure that the lifeblood of the NHS was pumping through my heart forever.
And that's what we've interviewed Lisa, who obviously you've worked with as well, and it shows that you start at the very bottom and you climb your way up, and you jump across different jobs, and you've done a similar path as well, haven't you, across your career? And we've sort of digged into that because you were part of the video for today as well, where we showcase some of the stories. So the Long Service Awards, you've been part from sort of the beginning. How have you found today's event, sharing stories with people across your table?
Absolutely amazing. The connection is the patient. The connection is, no matter what job you're in the NHS, it's about putting the patient at the centre of what we do, and there's your connection, because you just want to do good in the world.
And it is. I think almost everyone, if not all, is powered by compassion in that room. And it's really nice to see the event. Obviously, this is your first Long Service Awards, isn't it? So we try and do this year on year to celebrate all of us in the NHS who meet these milestones. Obviously, yours is 35. What do you think to the event? Like, is this something that you think we should keep doing? Is there, is this the wellbeing event that everyone needs?
Absolutely. To feel valued, to feel supported, to feel nurtured by the Trust means a lot to us. The event being put on this afternoon, the fact that the senior leadership team in the Trust are here that value us all, I'm just so overwhelmed and so grateful. Thank you.
And you've done 35. 50's on the cards. Is 50 years something that Mike Groden will be able to achieve?
Wow, never say never. You never know what's going to happen in this life. As long as I'm supporting my children through university and them to be amazing adults, then I will be here. I will be doing what I do and loving every minute of it.
And I think that's quite a nice ethos, isn't it? That you probably don't see work as work, because you thrive to help others and push the block forward to make sure that, on your ward, everyone gets the best care they can.
I certainly try to ensure that my patients are treated in the same way I would want for one of my own. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant, Mike. Go enjoy the rest of the day. I'm going to go see if I can find anyone else to interview around the tables.
No worries.
So I'm here with Vicky Self, who's done 18 years in the NHS. Not here for an award today, but obviously you're here to represent the Trust and be part of the wellbeing for the staff. How have you felt today's gone? Because this is sort of your first long service awards at Combine.
Yeah, absolutely, Kyle. So my first long service awards here at Combined, had the privilege of coming along as a guest and sitting on a table with a wonderful group of colleagues who were so open and sharing their experiences of working at Combined. So we had a huge range of years of experience on our table. I was able to hear some really interesting examples of how people started their careers back in when we had schools of nursing, and we were familiar with using things like institutions as a care setting, to colleagues who were helping design roles and embedded housekeeping as roles, so leave such a amazing legacy when they retire. And also some colleagues that are actually swapping roles, that have done a role in nursing and then going on to become a therapist. So such a huge range of what people have had as careers when combined. It's been really interesting to listen to their stories.
I always find it interesting because this is the 4th long service awards that I've been part of, making all the films, and I've got to know the eras.
Yes.
And the videos aren't the same every year, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody goes, oh, technology, and that's always the funny one that they pull out of, and hearing the little changes in the culture of the NHS, and as you mentioned, the learning side of it.
Absolutely.
And you think that the 30 years and even beyond that, we're building the NHS.
Yes.
For the first time at the Long Service Awards, we've done an activity with yourself and other executive team on each table to make sure that every member of staff gets to share their story, and some of those execs would then tell the story. Obviously, you didn't get the chance to do that at the event because we had such a time period, but what were some of the stories on your table? I know you alluded to it at the very beginning, but anything that really stuck out that we haven't mentioned already?
No, absolutely, Kyle. It was so... I loved hearing people's journeys of their NHS career, but I think what we sort of fell into as part of that discussion that we were facilitating on the tables is really what are some of those rocks in people's shoes? What are some of the day-to-day challenges that almost put real frustrations in people doing that good job, and why they work in the NHS? And for me, it really sort of, I suppose, demonstrated that the answers to these problems lie within our colleagues and our people on the shop floor. They know the issues, but they also have ideas of how to get rid of them and remove those barriers and challenges. So I thought that the more that we can have conversations like that would be better to understand people's problems. And what I was surprised when we were talking about some of those things is that it usually goes down to the basics, things like how much space people have in their working environments, things like having access to a staff restroom. We can't underestimate how important some of those real basic things are to staff, whether they are 2 days into their NHS career or 40 or 50 years into their NHS career.
Well, the way you've got to look at it is the stuff that we do in these changes, finding these problems, may be talked about in a long service event 30 years' time, like when they say, what was the biggest change? And it's something that they talked about today. So I think what we'll do is we'll see if we can listen to the other executives and what some of the other stories were mentioned. We did record them in the room, so we'll have a listen to those now.
Well, as you know, I'm not going to talk for long, but I think my name is Dennis Okoro. I'm Chief Medical Officer, and I've been privileged to come to these events nearly every year now for a few years. And one of the key things that stands out for me is making me reflect on how long I've been in Combined and seeing a lot of people that I haven't seen for many years. Of course, when I looked at the video, I remember Kieran, who I haven't seen for many years. And then also on the table, also met quite a lot of people that I haven't seen for years, dating back to even Bucknell Hospital, which is quite a long time ago. And reflecting on what it felt like in the early days, how the trust has, progressed over time. I've also, because I did most of my training around here, I also have worked in different areas with different members of staff lots of the places I've worked with. I think very I miss and reflect on what it felt like working in those places, particularly Lionbrook, which was my first consultant job when I finished my training. And then also on the table, I have mostly staff from Greenfield Centre, which is, and the first word I said to them when they mentioned Greenfield Centre was the legendary Greenfield Centre. And of course they got quite nervous about, is that a positive or a negative remark? But it is positive because Greenfields has been on a journey over quite a period of time, and almost exemplary in the way they do things. And within the table we also have Jane, who's moved to Sutherland Centre where I do clinical work, which is interesting in itself, and she's really welcome. And it's like full circle now, having worked with her over 20 years ago. And then Georgina, I spent some time having a chat with her. It'll go back many years as well. But also, more importantly, she knows my wife for some reason. So I thought I'd better be on my best behavior at the table. And so we ended up talking about my children and where they are up to and things like that. So it was really fascinating to come to these events and to share what it is about Combined that actually keeps us here, and then also for us to think about how we continue to improve and contribute to the organisation. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I'm Rachel Burks, Deputy Chief Operating Officer. So one of the things, we went completely off piece, sorry Marie, but most of the time we spent here just reminiscing really and talking about what it was like to work on adult acute wards in particular. We have 165 years of experience on this table, and I think that is really, I think that's one of the strengths that we've got here in Combined. And then also Tracy pointed out that she'd found her old preceptorship paperwork, noting that she's now done 20 years. She had a fantastic preceptor who signed it all up, so we talked about that. And then what we also talked about, which brings us always together, is free pens, free cake and a badge. And that's what makes Combined, and that's what makes the NHS tick. Thank you very much.
So that's it. Long Service Awards 2026 has now come to a close. What an amazing event we've had today, listening to the stories of all the members of staff and giving them the time to reflect on the time that they have done in the NHS. Whether that's 20 years or that massive milestone of 50 years, it's been great for them just to be recognised. And you've heard it first on the podcast that an event like this does go the extra mile for the hard-working, dedicated staff of the NHS. And I think the big takeaway is obviously we want to do this more. It's that sort of recognition of service within the NHS, which I think they all appreciate. If you want to find out more about the Long Service Awards, we have YouTube videos from 2026, 2025. We've been doing this many years. If you want to see other stories and other members of staff who've been in the NHS for more than 20 years. And going on from this event, obviously they were awarded a card and they get a specific badge of the category they've earned. They're going to wear that with pride at work, and it's going to be, just that nod to the service that they've had. So this has been the Combinations podcast, the podcast from North Staffordshire Combined Healthcare NHS Trust. My name is Carl, and I've had the fun and duty today to pull out those unique stories that are hidden in our workforce. And everyone has a unique NHS story. Why did they join? What's kept them here? And what they get out of it day by day. Is it that they're cut to the core in compassion? Do they have the highest of job satisfaction, or even a bit of both? Everyone has some reason why they love to come and work for the NHS. So it's been great to reflect on that and just be part of the event. Obviously, this isn't our first Long Service Awards. We've got a plethora of videos on our YouTube channel from previous years, just again extracting what's changed over the NHS. And as we move forward, there's always going to be something new to talk about in somebody's long service. So it's been a fantastic podcast to record today. If, of course, you want to listen to more of our podcasts from North Staffordshire Combined, we're on most streaming platforms for podcasts. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we've even got SoundCloud if you'd prefer to use that platform. So that's the 2026 Long Service Awards coverage coming to a close, and the message of the whole event is that the staff feel heard and seen, but most importantly, they feel recognised. And I think that is what an event like this is designed to do, and it's just fantastic that is the general consensus of the day.